The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher, and the rain is falling yet again this morning.
Today, a major decision is expected in a case we've been following for several years. A judge is set to decide whether Wendy Howard's case will go back to trial. Howard admitted to shooting Kelly Pitts during an argument in 2019, 3 days after she learned Pitts molested their then teenage daughter. Howard testified she feared for her life when she killed him. A jury acquitted Howard of murder and lesser charges back in October, but could not reach a verdict on the charge of voluntary manslaughter in the heat of passion. Today's hearing is supposed to determine if the case on that charge will go back to trial or whether that would constitute double jeopardy. Meantime, a woman accused of killing a man early Friday morning in East Bakersfield is due in court today. Investigators say Valeria Galvez shot and killed Jose Antonio Contreras at an apartment complex near Auburn Street in Morning Drive. Galvez is being held without bail.
Jury selection is now underway in the trial of a California city couple charged in the deaths of their 2 adopted children. 2 panels of prospective jurors filled out questionnaires yesterday, asking if they've heard media coverage of the case against Trezell and Jacqueline West. The 2 are charged with second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter in the deaths of Orrin and Orson West. There's been intense media attention since the boys, ages 4 and 3, went missing more than 2 years ago. Their bodies have not been found. More jury panels will be called in today. The trial is expected to begin next week.
We now know the name of the driver who was killed in a rollover crash on Highway 58 last week. CHP says 20-year-old Cindy Rosales was driving westbound on the 58 near Bueno Road last Tuesday when she lost control and hit the center divider. The car flipped and came to rest on its wheels, but officers say Rosales was not wearing a seatbelt and was launched from the car. Investigators say alcohol or drugs are not suspected in this crash.
The Delano City Council last night tabled a review on a proposal for rent control, despite growing calls from angry residents.
Rent control is one piece of the puzzle, and you are continuing to stall this possibility. So we can't even move forward united as one because we're not having a fair discussion. Y'all's report came out Friday. They gave us 2 days to read that. That was over 40 pages. Y'all, this is not the first time they do this. This is a strategy.
Housing advocates say the average rent for an apartment in Delano is $1,400, adding that high rent prices force Delano families and neighbors out of their homes without legal protections. All the while, they say developers refuse to build more affordable units. Council members say they'll review the rent control proposal next month.
Where do we want it? Where do we want
You can see here dozens of Dignity healthcare workers protested outside Bakersfield Memorial Hospital yesterday to rally against what they are calling a short staffing crisis. Employees say they have been chronically understaffed since COVID and are not able to give patients the care they deserve. They are calling on Bakersfield Memorial Hospital to address the critical demand through ongoing contract negotiations with their union. The last time the two reached an agreement was back in 2018, just 1 year before COVID made its way into America. President and CEO of Bakersfield Memorial, Ken Keller, released a statement addressing the protest, writing in part, "We recognize and respect the rights of our employees to participate in today's informational picket. We want our community to know that providing safe, high-quality care is always our top priority." Nurses at Mercy Hospitals of Bakersfield will be protesting today at 11 a.m. on Old River Road. President Joe Biden has signed a bill declassifying as much intelligence as possible about the origins of COVID-19. The legislation cites potential links between research done at China's Wuhan Institute of Virology and the outbreak. The pandemic started more than 3 years ago. U.S. intelligence agencies are divided over whether the deadly virus came from a lab leak or an animal. Here at home, local health officials say there have been more than 300,000 cases in Kern County since the first person tested positive back in March 2020.
All eyes are on New York today as a Manhattan grand jury decides whether to indict former President Trump. Over the weekend, he posted online that he expects to be arrested today in connection to a case involving hush money payments. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington with more.
Democrat investigator.
Former President Trump railing against investigators this morning.
Is just a continuation of the most disgusting witch hunt.
All eyes are on a New York City grand jury today after Trump predicted he'd be arrested in connection to alleged hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election. Robert Costello, a key witness for Trump, testified Monday.
Michael Cohen told us that he was approached by Stormy Daniels' lawyer, and Stormy Daniels had negative information that she wanted to put in a lawsuit against Trump.
Cohen, Trump's former fixer, alleged Trump paid him $130,000 to buy Daniels' silence. Costello, who claims he was Cohen's attorney, attacked his credibility, but Cohen fired back.
Pretty much almost everything that Bob Costello said will be once again proven to be inaccurate as it relates to me.
Top Republicans coming to Trump's defense.
I believe is the epitomization of the weaponization of the federal government and departments against political opponents.
Manhattan's district attorney, Democrat Alvin Bragg, is weighing potential charges against the 2024 presidential hopeful.
I think if it's a misdemeanor, there would be more political consequences than legal consequences.
One question that could be answered today: will or won't Trump be indicted? If the former president is indicted, sources tell NBC News that the Secret Service would accompany Mr. Trump throughout the process of possibly surrendering and making an initial court appearance, and do so while trying to keep him out of public view. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Still ahead this morning on the Today Show, NBC's Savannah Guthrie sat down with school teacher Abigail Werner in her first interview since she was shot by a 6-year-old student inside her classroom in Virginia. The first grade teacher described to Guthrie the challenges she's faced since the shooting, including 4 surgeries. NBC's Ann Thompson reports.
For the first time, Abigail Werner in her own words. In an exclusive interview with Savannah Guthrie, the first grade teacher describing the challenges she faces after she was shot by a 6-year-old student in front of her class.
How do you feel? How is your recovery going?
I've been doing okay. You know, it's been challenging. I've gone through a lot of obstacles and challenges. Some days are not so good days where I can't get up out of bed. Some days are better than others where I'm able to get out of bed and make it to my appointment. But, you know, from going through what I've gone through, I try to stay positive, you know, try to have a positive outlook on what's happened and where my future's heading.
Wounded in her left hand and chest, the 27-year-old says she has undergone 4 surgeries, the most recent one for her bandaged hand that Werner says she still cannot fully use.
First grade student. I know where that student is.
Earlier this month, the Newport News, Virginia prosecutor decided not to charge the 6-year-old boy, saying his age and inability to understand the legal system made it problematic. But the prosecutor says he is still looking at others. The boy's attorney says he welcomes the prosecutor's decision. We have not heard from school officials.
This should have never happened. It was preventable.
In a press conference earlier this year, Werner's attorney said at least 3 staffers warned the school administration at Rich Neck Elementary that the boy had a gun. Werner says she will make that case in civil court, where her attorney says she plans to file a lawsuit in 2 weeks. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
And tune in this morning for more of Savannah's conversation with Abigail Werner, including her account of what happened inside the classroom. An exclusive interview that you'll only see next on Today.
Back here at home, a Bakersfield family searching for answers after a tragic accident where 2 sisters burned to death and a third was seriously hurt. It happened earlier this month. 21-year-old Karime Duarte, along with 23-year-old Diana Ponce and 15-year-old Jennifer Duarte, crashed into a truck. The car burst into flames, killing Karime and Jennifer, along with Cleo, the family dog. The father of the victims say he got a call from Karime shortly before the crash, saying they were being chased by 2 cars on McKee Road. The sisters were on the road because Diana had a paper route and her sisters would help out. Sylvia Ponce, another sister who would usually go out with them from time to time, happened to stay home that night.
They always tried their best to do what they could to get a little bit of extra money for our house. That's all they did. That's all they cared about. They didn't deserve to die so young.
Anyone wishing to help out the family can do so. There's a GoFundMe account. It is called the Duarte Ponce Family. And we have a link to it on our website, kget.com. Just click the hot link icon. The family tells us they still have not received the bodies of their loved ones, and funeral services are pending.
Just devastating.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.